Welcome to this video. In this video I would like to show and explain to you how you can create a custom ABAP program to select data of a specific database table and to output the selected data within the ALV Grid control within a table. At the end, I will also show you how you can include your ABAP program in a custom transaction code to open up your program by entering the transaction code in the command field without using the SA38, the ABAP program execution, to execute your program. And once again, basically here we have three major tasks to do. And the first one is basically to open up the SE38 transaction, and here we have our ABAP editor. This basically is the transaction to create and maintain ABAP programs. You can also use, if you want to, the SE80 transaction, the object navigator, to open the ABAP editor within there and to create your ABAP coding. What you have to do is, first of all, you have to enter your name. So in this case, for example, set underscore table underscore output underscore ALV2. I have already created one program without the 2 at the end, and based on this program I would like to show you how this program gonna look like. It's important to note that you have to start your custom programs with the letters Y or Z. And that's because the letters range A to X are reserved by SAP itself. So all the standard programs SAP provides, starting with a letter from A to X, and Y or Z are reserved by customers to include also custom programs. So keep this in mind. And then next we click on the create button, and here basically you have to keep in mind to enter a title. So for example, output data of selected table if you want to, and under type there you specify executable program. You can leave the other settings as they are, then you click on the save button. Here within this screen you have an option to enter and specify a package. A package is basically an object that your programs are linked to. So as a package you can compare it where your ABAP programs are within the package and belong together. Basically this is a grouping, a sorting purpose, and if you just would like to train and to exercise ABAP, then you can also use the $TMP package for temporary package, and you can use this package that your objects won't be transported to any further systems like the quality, like the productive system. So keep this in mind. Of course, if you would like to transport your program, then you have to specify a package. Then you have to specify a workbench transport, but with the $TMP package you don't need this. You can enter $TMP, then click on save, or you could also just click on local object without entering $TMP. Then they will automatically be linked to the $TMP package. So after saving, then here we have basically our program. Currently it's inactive, so keep this in mind that once a program is inactive, then only with the ABAP editor you will use and execute the active version, but of course you can work on the inactive version. So just the active version is ready to be used, and you can activate your program with this button to activate it. So once again we have our three different parts. So first of all, to maintain the selection criteria, then to select the data, and last but not least to output the selected data in ALV Grid control. So let's do it with these different types. So first of all, regarding the selection criteria, there basically you have two options. So the first one is to enter the select option statement, and there, for example, I just enter SO underscore P or none, and then you have to use the for, because you're having a range, therefore you're not using the type, you're using the for statement. And after that, you can use something like that. So for example, now we're using the range of this field within this table to also use the search help and so on. So if you would just enter something like that and then doing a syntax check, then you can see that the data element can't be used within that. But if you're using something like this, then you have also here right now not the possibility to use it, but to make it aware, you can use the table statements to directly make this program available for this echo. And now if we're using the select at a syntax check, then we're not getting any syntax check because now the table echo is known within this program. There's a better way to do this, and to do this basically we can use a helper a variable, and to use this basically here I'm just creating a helper variable, and this has the type here as mentioned, and now we can use it within here to be up and ready to use it. So here we're having the select options like the range. So then Shift F1 doing a pretty printer, once again syntax check, and Control S to save this. And if you want to see this, then we activate this and run the report, and here you can see now the selection criteria, so the range to enter multiple information within this field. Keep in mind that here the variable name will still be shown. We will see later on how to change this. Then secondly, you can also use one single input field, and that's so-called parameters, and therefore I just use the creator of the purchase order, because in this case I would like to select the purchase order data out of the table EKKO, and therefore here you can enter the type statement and enter the data element here directly. And if we're now doing a syntax check, activate this and then process it, then you can see the one single field within here. So that's also great. If you would like to change the name, then basically they're done by the text elements. So to that you have to click on this button text element. I think you can also reach this if you go to and then within here text elements, there you have also the option available. And then if we go to selection text, now you can see this question mark ... So if you would like to override this, then here you can enter your information, so like SAP user, or you can also select a data dictionary reference to directly show the name that also within the ABAP dictionary, then the data element is being used. So I will just enter directly the names, then save this, then go back. And then if I execute this once again, so therefore let's activate this within here as well. You're not seeing this. Let's check it, because within here we can see that the text elements are not active. So even though I have maintained them within here, you have once again to activate it within here. That's a different part, and then go back and run this, and now you can see the names within here. Okay, under I think under go to and then translation, here you have, for example, the possibility to translate your texts from English to the German, and here you can enter now the translation. So for example, for user you can enter SAP Benutzer, and for PO number there you can enter, for example, Bestellnummer, and hier Ausgabe der selektierten Daten, for example. Then hit the enter key, then save this so that this has the status changed. And now if I would use the program in German, then also the German translation and texts are displayed. Okay, so there we have our selection criteria. So next one would be to select the data depending on our user input to use it within the select statement. Therefore, I'm using the select statement now with the asterisk. Please keep in mind that you shouldn't do this. I'm just doing this for training purposes. You could also specifically type in the information you would like to select, like Ebel, like Erna, and the other fields out of the table EKKO, because if you enter asterisk, then all of the data will be selected, and a good approach is just to select the data that you need. So in case you're using this program in a productive use, then please don't use asterisk unless you really need every component, but yeah, I doubt this. So please just enter the components and fields that you really are using, but once again, for training purpose, to make it easy and better understandable for you, I'm just using asterisk. Then you enter the table, so from AKKO in this case, and then we're saving this into the table LTPO data, for example. You could also create this in an inline declaration, but here right now, to make it easier, I will just create another variable, an internal table. So type table of EKKO in this case. Then here within our select statement, now we would like, within the where clause, would like to enter our dependencies, and therefore one component of the EKKO is Ebel. It's the PO number. Now we're not using equals, normally just to make an assertion of two fields. We would like to use in, because once again, within the select options, within here, we're having a range, and we would like to include every entered selection criteria into the multiple selection, for example. And now you're just using in and then the selection criteria field. And then, for example, or in this case, a PO user, so Ernam is equal to PO user to either select the data out of the entered selection criteria, the select options, or the parameter itself. And that's basically it. So here we can now see that here we have our select. So once again, Shift F1, Control F2 for syntax check, Control F3 for activation, and then F8 or this button to process it. And if you know output and nothing happens, but trust me, in the background the data is selected and shown. So the next step would be to basically make the output, and I just would like the output if there is really a data. So once again, if sub RC is equal to 0, so that the selection has been executed successfully, and this data shouldn't be empty, to make sure is not initial. So just output data if this has been worked. If not, so if there is any error, or if there has something not worked or no data has been selected, then I would like to output a message in the status bar. So therefore simply enter a message and then no data found in this case. Of course, you can also use message classes, but really keep this simple. Directly enter the string within here, type in this case S, and display like a warning, for example, Shift F1, Control F2. So nothing is wrong. And then let's activate this and run this. And here, for example, if I'm entering something completely bad, then we can see no data is found. If I'm leaving this empty and then execute this, then I won't get this message because there is data, but I'm not doing any action within here. And within here, basically now this is what we are going to do, because here we would like to output the selected data within the ALV Grid control. And here you have to keep in mind, really to make it simple, there are some classes that you can use within the ALV Grid control to easier and faster create the ALV Grid control. If you want to know more information about the ALV Grid control, I'm happy to create an own video about this. But just basically for your understanding, you need to specify first of all a type, including all the attributes and fields that you're going to use within the column, within the ALV Grid control, within the table. And therefore I have already prepared something. So here I'm defining this type basically for the PO data, and I would like to output the purchase order number, the purchase order type, and the creator. But once again, you can also specify other fields if you like to, but this is just easily done. Then next is we need some variables within the ALV Grid control. First of all, we need to have our data. So here right now, I've now selected everything. You can also use directly this internal table of this type and then use it later on. But I now also would like to show you how to convert the selected data. But once again, just declare the type at the beginning, then make this internal table of this type instead of echo. Then you don't need to make this a workaround with another internal table, but that's basically what I'm going to show you. So here basically I use GTPO data, and this has the type table of this type. Then what we also need is the object of the ALV Grid control table itself. So therefore I'm just using a table, and here it's type ref2 because you were using an object of the class CL_SALV_table. There are also other classes around there, but this is one. And then we're also using a reference. So in this case, I'll also use LR and functions for adding the buttons within the toolbar of the ALV Grid control. And here, once again, it's a type ref2, and the class is CL_SALV_functions_list. Shift F1, Control F2, everything is fine. And now I would like to move the data, so to assign the selected data to the data that I need. Once again, I would like just to display those three. You can also leave this around, display every component if you want to, but now I'm showing you this how to limit also the components, and therefore I'm using the move corresponding, and in this case LTPO data to the GTPO data, so to the data that is being used within the ALV Grid control. And now we have our final data, so now I would like to create the ALV Grid control, and therefore I include this within a try catch, and the exception is CX_SLV_MSG. And within the try, basically, I would like to call the factory method, so the create method of this class. So therefore, I'm using the factory. I'm including this within here, and there basically you have to import. This is an importing parameter, the reference of the ALV Grid control, but of course the other way around, because the importing or the exporting parameter in this case, it's called R_SALV_table, and then I will set this to this variable, and then we're having a changing, so we would also like to pass over information, and this is T underscore table. And once again, now we have our data within here, so this should be used within the ALV Grid Control. So basically, we are creating an I think is there a typo? Let's use, no, there's not, just pretty printer. We are importing our reference of this ALV Grid Control that includes this data, and if there's something happened, then we're catching this within here. So then let's go further. So then first of all, I would like to add the buttons within the toolbar, and therefore I am creating the reference of this functions class, and therefore I am calling one method, and this is called get functions. So get functions. And now I would like to set these functions also to default. So without having any typo. And now we're having basically our functions there on the ALV Grid Control. And now, last but not least, the most important step is to display the ALV Grid Control, and therefore I just call for the object of the ALV Grid Control the display method, and that's it. So Shift F1, Control F2, Control F3 to activate it. And so once again, going through this, first of all, we've created selection criteria that we are using within the select statement, and then if we have data, then we're specifying a type for the columns for the data that is being shown within the ALV Grid Control. So within here we have our data, within here we have the instance of the ALV Grid Control, and this is needed for functions. You can play a lot around with an ALV Grid Control. This is a simple example, and therefore here we have the final data, creating an instance of the ALV Grid Control out of this data, and then basically after assigning the functions, the buttons, here we are just displaying them. And if I execute this without any limitations, so then execute, then here we can see our output of those three columns. Basically, you can play around, add more functionalities. Here we have our buttons there. This is one way that you can use to also easily select data from a table and output them with an ALV Grid Control, because once again, I have produced a lot of videos about SAP Query. SAP Query makes it easier to select data without having the need to create a custom program, without the mess, all of this, directly with drag and drop with some clickings. Without ABAP knowledge, you can select the data within there as well. But SAP Query has a lot of limitations, and here you have more flexibility to add your own logic. So at some point, this is the better way to go. At other point, SAP Query, what you prefer. So now what I'm going to show you is how to include this report in a transaction code. So therefore we open up the SE93 transaction, and here I'm just entering the transaction code that is being used within the command field. Once again, has to start with Y or Z letters. So in this case, I just name it set table output ALV2, and then you click on the create button. Here you enter short text if you want to. So call or ABAP program, call ABAP program. So what do you prefer? Okay, now I have my limitations. So yeah, what do you prefer? So then let's make it this way. Yeah, what do you prefer? And then here you have to specify program and selection screen, so a report transaction. So, and then here we just simply paste in our program. Yeah, you can leave the other settings as they are, or select those 3 settings and then save this. Here once again you can specify your package, your transport, or just for training purposes link this to $TMP. Then click on save, and then next what you need is you can test this within here. So therefore you can click to test, and then you can directly enter within your program. Or what you also can do is you can enter your transaction code within here and enter your program there as well. So yeah, basically this is one way. This is a template that you can use also to replace the EKKO for your custom table. You can add a join, you can add different components, you can play around with the ALV Grid Control. And if you would like to get to know more about how the ALV Grid Control is built up, there you can open up the SE38. And there is one sample program already available within your system, and it's the SALV_demo_table_simple. And if you select source code and go to display, here you can go around and look how this is built up. And here in this case, we have used the display full screen. Have a look, play around, explore it. But once again, if you have any questions left, put them in the comment section. Please like this video and please subscribe to not miss great upcoming videos. Thank you so much, and see you in the next video.